Welcome to the Assembly Committee on Education, the most studious committee in the Nevada State Legislature. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assembly members De Silva, Dahlia, DeLong, Flanagan, Hanson, Hardy, Hunt, Koenig, LaRue Hatch, Mosca, Orentlicker, and Chair Torres Fawcett.
Thank you, and welcome to the audience here in Carson City, those joining us by video conference in Las Vegas, and those listening over the internet. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, there's less than 60 days left, so please don't forget to subscribe today. Please don't forget to silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table by the door and provide a business card to the committee's secretary. When testifying, please turn on the microphone, clearly state your name, spell your name, and state your affiliation, if any, for the record. Then turn the microphone off each time you are done speaking. Electronic copies should be submitted to our committee manager by 12 p.m. yesterday for members of the committee, and 20 hard copies should be provided to the public. Members of the public may provide testimony on a bill either in person or by telephone. Please see the meeting agenda for the telephone number and meeting ID. Meeting agenda and committee information is available on Nellis, which can be accessed through the legislature's website. You may also watch our meetings through Nellis or the legislature's YouTube channel. I got a new script, and I'm happy that we get to talk about YouTube extra now. Public comment will be taken at the end of the meeting. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes. We expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during the meeting, even if we do not agree with another person's position. Committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents. Please don't view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. At this time, we have a couple items on the agenda today. We are going to go ahead and start first with the work session. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Ms. Lower. We'll first start with AB 156.
Thank you, Chair. Kelly Lower, Committee Policy Analyst. The first measure on work session is AB 156, which revises provisions governing the salary of members of the Board of Trustees of certain school districts. This bill is sponsored by Assemblymember Mosca, and the committee heard this bill on February 27th. Assembly Bill 156 revises the annual salary for members of the Board of Trustees of a school district elected or appointed for terms beginning after January 1, 2027 in a county with a population of 700,000 or more to match the salary of county commissioners in those counties. Assemblymember Mosca proposed an amendment for this bill, adding the following provisions. 1. Limit the compensation provisions as described in subsection 4 of section 1 to elected trustees while maintaining the existing compensation structure for appointed trustees. 2. Add new language to the bill to authorize county commissions in counties including Carson City with a population under 750,000 to make the compensation of school board trustees equal to that of county commissioners in those counties, effectively making these positions full-time. Require counties to provide the compensation for such board positions and make these provisions effective on January 1, 2026. 3. Add provisions of Assembly Bill 195, 2025 in full, which provide for voting rights for appointed Clark County School District or CCSD trustees in conjunction with creating term limits for appointed trustees and make these provisions effective on July 1, 2025. 4. Add new language to require that the CCSD Board of Trustees determines the source of funds to provide compensation for the CCSD Board of Trustees elected during and after Nevada's 2026 general election. Prohibit cuts to CCSD educator support staff, mental health staff compensation, or furlough days to cover compensation for these positions. 3. Permit CCSD trustees to raise money or solicit funds on behalf of CCSD under certain conditions and make these provisions effective July 1, 2025. And 5, add new language allowing local government entities to align the compensation of appointed trustees with that of elected trustees, including certain conditions relating to funding and the termination of appointments. These provisions would be effective on January 1, 2026.
Members, are there any questions in regard to the amendment? It doesn't appear that there are any. At this time, I'll accept a motion to amend and do pass. I have the motion from Assemblymember Dahlia. Do I have a second? I have a second from Assemblymember LaRue Hatch. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Can I have the nays raise their hand? Okay, so Assemblymember Hanson, Assemblymember Hardy, Assemblymember Flanagan, Assemblymember DeLong, thank you. And Assemblymember Koenig. At this time, the motion does pass. And so we will go ahead and assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Mosca. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The next measure on work session is Assembly Bill 345, which revises provisions relating to education. This bill sponsored by Assemblymember Mosca. The committee heard this bill on March 11th. Assembly Bill 345 requires the Board of Regents of the Nevada System of Higher Education, or NG, to establish and maintain a data dashboard on the NG Internet website relating to certain educational and professional outcomes of students. Additionally, the bill requires the board to conduct an interim study during the 2025-2026 interim relating to the financial issues facing students of NG. Assemblymember Mosca proposed an amendment to this bill, which amends Section 1 to add specific data points that the dashboard must include and to require the dashboard to be made available by September 1, 2026, require the Board of Regents to establish certain guidelines for the use of low-cost and no-cost open source or open educational resources in courses offered at NG institutions by July 1, 2026, and require the board to conduct a study on financial and food insecurity among students within NG institutions to be presented to the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Education on or before July 1, 2026.
Members, are there any questions in regard to AB 345? Doesn't appear that there's any. At this time, I'll accept a motion to amend and to pass. I have the motion from Assemblymember Dahlia, and I have the second from Vice Chair De Silva. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion does pass unanimously. And I will find the statement to Assemblymember Mosca. We'll proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The next item on work session is Assembly Bill 412, which creates a program to provide grants of money to school districts for the purpose of facilitating emergency response by providing school mapping data. This is sponsored by Assemblymember Dahlia. The committee heard this bill on April 3rd. Assemblymember Dahlia proposed an amendment making the following changes to the bill. 1, move the account for the Nevada School Safety Data Grant Program to Nevada's Division of Emergency Management and Office of Homeland Security of the Office of the Military. 2, remove private schools from program eligibility. 3, change the grantee for school mapping data from the school districts to law enforcement agencies. 4, revise school mapping data requirements to require confidentiality and cybersecurity standards and remove the requirement that the data is compatible with security software platforms used by school districts. 5, eliminate the appropriation and instead authorize local governments to contribute money to the account while requiring any grant of money contributed by a local government to be rewarded to recipients within the jurisdiction of the local government. And 6, add new language providing for optional school master key lock boxes at school buildings to expedite emergency responses.
Members, do I have any questions in regard to the amendment? It doesn't appear that there are any. At this time, I'll accept a motion to amend and to pass. I have the motion from Assemblymember Mosca, and I'll give the second to Assemblymember Hunt. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, nay? And this motion does carry. I have Assemblymember LaRue Hatch in opposition. Thank you. We'll go ahead and proceed to the next.
Thank you, Chair. The next measure on work session is Assembly Bill 420, which revises provisions relating to governmental administration. This bill is sponsored by Assemblymember Gonzalez, and the committee heard this measure on March 25th. Assemblymember Gonzalez proposed the following amendments. 1, revise the provisions of Section 1 to apply to certain school police officers and employees of any school district, not only school districts in a county whose population is 700,000 or more. 2, revise the reporting requirements in subsection 1 of Section 1 to require the school police department of a school district to display use of force data on the school district's website. Data must be displayed for the prior academic year no later than the first day of the following academic year. Reporting will begin with the 2025-2026 academic year. 3, require reports to include information relating to instances in which school police officers used force, unless such information could identify a pupil, including the location where the force was used, type of force used, and number of occurrences for each type of force, force recipient age range, and demographics of the force recipient, and the rank and years of service for the officer who applied force. 4, delete subsections 3 and 4 of Section 1 concerning requirements for the Board of Trustees to perform reviews and investigations and provide public reports before the next general election of the reported uses of force, chemical agents, or electronic stun devices on pupils. 5, add new language defining use of force to include the use of baton strikes. And 6, delete sections 2 through 5 concerning the voter access grant program.
Thank you. And I am in receipt of another amendment that I would like to add to this piece of legislation that would limit the demographics of the officer who applied force to districts that employ more than 75 officers. Obviously, the intent being that districts that have less than 75 officers, those demographics could then be personally identifiable information. So if you have maybe one officer or 3 officers that meet those characteristics, it would say exactly which officer it was. At this time, are there any other questions in regard to the amendment for AB 420? At this time, I'll accept a motion to amend and do pass. I have the motion from Vice Chair DeSilva. Do I have a second? I have the second from Assemblymember Mosca. Any discussion? Yes. Assemblymember Hanson.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate all the amending that the sponsor has worked with various stakeholders. And I still have some concerns in the application of how it will affect a lot of my rural districts. Many of them do not have school police, and they use the sheriff, and though they are mandatory reporting of those situations, and the public can have access to that via the FBI website, or they can request it personally from the sheriff's department.
Thank you. And to clarify, this would only be applied to school districts with school police officers. I can have legal clarify that if you'd like as well.
Okay, yes, please. I'm sorry. There were so many amendments, it's hard to keep it straight.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Asher Killian, Committee Counsel. I apologize for the delay. I was pulling the bill text back up, but yes, it would only apply to school districts that employ school district police officers.
And Chair, so what I'll do is I'm going to be no in committee if, as I go through these amendments even more, if I can get more comfort with the school police, then I'll be able to maybe change my vote on the floor, but for now I'll be a no. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any further discussion? Assemblymember DeLong.
Thank you, Chair. I have the same position as Assemblywoman Hanson.
Thank you. Not seeing no further discussion. Assemblymember Hardy.
Thank you, Chair. And I too just want to acknowledge the work that's been done on this bill. And this is one, I'm going to vote yes to get it out of committee. Again, acknowledging what's been done on the amendments, but I want to go through them again because I know that generally I think this would be better resolved in district policy than NRS, but I'll vote yes for it now and reserve my right to change. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So at this time, we had the motion already, and we have had the second already. So at this time, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. I have a nay from Assemblymember Hanson and a nay from Assemblymember DeLong. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Gonzalez. Thank you. And I have to go back just quickly to AB 412. I forgot to assign the floor statement, so I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Dahlia. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The next item on work session is Assembly Bill 472, which revises provisions relating to educational personnel. This bill is sponsored by the Assembly Committee on Education on behalf of the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Education. The committee heard this bill on March 18th. Assembly Bill 472 prohibits school districts from contracting or partnering with certain individuals or entities sponsoring or recruiting candidates for a teacher exchange program if those individuals or entities charge candidates more than $10,000 in fees and costs. Additionally, the bill requires Nevada's Department of Education to establish a grant program to which the Board of Trustees of a school district may apply for a grant to defray the cost of sponsoring an applicant for an H-1B visa or a permanent resident card. The grant program is intended for applicants who are J-1 visa holders within a year of visa expiration at the time the Board of Trustees applies for the grant money. The department is required to adopt any necessary regulations for the application process and administration of the grant program. There are no amendments for this measure.
Seeing no amendments, at this time I'll accept a motion to do pass AB 472. I have the motion from Assemblymember Mosca, and I have the second from Vice Chair De Silva. Any further discussion? I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Mosca. Oh, we got to take a vote. Sorry. I'm ready for a floor statement, though. We'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion does carry and pass unanimously, so I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblymember Mosca. We'll go ahead and go next with AB 501.
Thank you, Chair. The next measure is Assembly Bill 501, which authorizes certain pupils to receive academic credit for completing certain outdoor recreational activities. This bill is sponsored by Assembly Members Yeager and Howdigi. The committee heard this measure on April 3rd. Assembly Bill 501 authorizes the Board of Trustees or the governing body of a charter school to award elective course credit to middle, junior, or high school pupils who complete an approved outdoor recreational activity outside of school hours. This credit counts towards the total required for promotion to or graduation from high school. The bill requires the Board of Trustees of a school district or governing body of a charter school to establish certain rules and procedures for obtaining elective credits for approved outdoor recreational activities if the board or governing body elects to grant such credits. The Board of Trustees of a school district or governing body of a charter school is not required to provide, facilitate, or sponsor any outdoor activity relating to these provisions. There are no amendments for this measure.
At this time, I have had a conversation with the sponsors as well, just in attempt to put some parameters around this program that would be completely new, to limit this to one elective credit. So I'm going to add that as an amendment to this bill, just limiting this to one elective credit. This is comparable with what we do for like community service or other types of programming in schools. Members, any discussion around the amendment or questions around in regard to the amendment? All right, at this time, I'll accept a motion to amend and do pass. I have the motion from Assemblymember Dahlia. Do I have a second? I have a second from Assemblymember Hardy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion does carry and pass unanimously. And I'll send that floor statement to... I'll sign that floor statement to Assemblymember Howdigi.
Thank you, Chair. The last measure on work session today is Assembly Bill 533, which revises provisions relating to education. This bill is sponsored by the Assembly Committee on Education, and this committee heard this measure on April 1st. Two amendments were proposed for this measure. Assemblymember Torres Fawcett proposed an amendment to this bill, adding the following provisions to Section 2. 1, require the superintendent of public instruction to provide the application in multiple languages. 2, clarify the application is only required if a pupil wishes to attend a public school outside their zone of attendance. 3, require the Nevada Department of Education to update its website on the first day of each month with the number of vacancies for each grade level within each public school. 4, prohibit school districts from measuring capacity by specialized programs when determining grade level capacity at a school. 5, require school districts to submit an annual report to the superintendent of public instruction detailing district transport resources, the number of pupils who applied to attend a school outside their zone of attendance, and an analysis of how transportation resources could be provided for pupils attending schools outside their zone of attendance. And 6, add a definition for the term capacity, specifying that capacity is calculated by subtracting the number of pupils enrolled and the number of school staff from the maximum building capacity. Opportunity 180, propose an amendment for this measure to revise subsection 6 of section 2, stating that if an application to attend a school outside a pupil's zone of attendance is denied or not acted upon, a parent or guardian may appeal to the superintendent of the school district, who will promptly approve or deny the application, and his or her decision is final. And revise the definition for capacity as provided in the amendment submitted by Assemblymember Torres Fawcett, stating capacity is calculated by subtracting the number of pupils enrolled and the number of staff from the maximum instructional space capacity per grade level. And this calculation is not to include certain areas in the school building, including gymnasiums, theaters, administrative offices, cafeterias, and storage spaces.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions in regard to the amendments? Assemblymember LaRue Hatch.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you for everyone that worked on this clarifying amendment. I just want to get on the record now with this new amendment. Instructional space capacity is how many students fit reasonably in a classroom, not the fire code or those concerns raised during the hearing.
Yes, that is correct. Any other Assemblymember Hanson?
Thank you, Chair. And just to clarify, a conversation, some districts are already doing this without lottery. Is there the ability for a district, is going to be by lottery? Okay.
Thank you. Yes, it would switch to a lottery system. Well, it requires them to establish a system like a lottery. So a lottery is the example given in the bill, but it is not required that it's a lottery. I know that Washoe County has its own unique system.
So would they be able to stay with what they have? It looks like it, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
At this, do you have a question about the amendment? Okay, go ahead, Assemblymember Flanagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the capacity, and maybe in line with the Assemblymember LaRue Hatch's question, so I understand, as they evaluate the capacity, taking the total from the number of students and the number of staff, if a school has a certain capacity and lacks enough staff, how does that compare to make sure the pupil to staff ratio is healthy? Because I don't know if that's the healthiest or smartest way to determine capacity, if we then have more students than we actually have staff, even if there is a spot to move a child around.
So this is based off the capacity that is already created by districts. So this is based off of the capacity that districts have already created, and it considers things like staffing. I know that's something the CCSD policy, that's the one I looked at specifically to review, like, okay, what does this look like in a school? But it's based off of the staffing is included in those considerations, as well as like instructional space.
So, okay, so thank you, Madam Chair. So the ability for the staff to accommodate the number of students will always be taken into consideration before open enrollment is approved?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Thank you. At this time, I'll accept a motion to amend and do pass. I have the motion from Assemblymember Mosca, and I have the second from Vice Chair De Silva. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion does carry and pass unanimously. I'll assign that floor statement to myself. And with that, we can conclude probably our longest work session yet. And we will... And with that, we will go ahead and open up the hearing on AB 454, which enacts the Smart Heart Health Law for public and private schools. Please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Torres Fawcett. Members of the committee, I'm Hanadi Nadeem, representing Assembly District 34. With me today is Dr. Danielian, the Las Vegas Heart Associate Director of Sports Cardiology and Endocardiography. We are here to present Assembly Bill 454, which enacts a smart heart law for public and private schools. I would like to begin with some background information. Sudden cardiac arrest is an abrupt and unexpected loss of heart function leading to cessation of breathing and consciousness. This critical condition arises from the disturbances in the heart's electrical system, causing it to stop beating effectively. Immediate intervention is vital as survival rate decrease by approximately 10% for each minute without defibrillation. Sudden cardiac arrest can tragically affect seemingly healthy individuals, including high school age athletes. Training school personnel and coaches on how to administer cardiopulmonary resuscitation (CPR) is critical for an effective emergency response to sudden cardiac arrest incidents. This training, coupled with a well-practiced emergency action plan, significantly improves survival outcomes for individuals experiencing sudden cardiac arrest. Assembly Bill 454, known as the Smart Heart Law, bolsters the safety protocols for Nevada school athletic activities by ensuring life-saving skills are ingrained in the daily practices of both public and private schools. I will now walk you through the key sections of the bill. Section 1 expands current laws requiring public school districts to develop and implement comprehensive CPR training plans. Specifically, the bill adds the requirement that every coach, manager, or other adult involved in school athletic activity obtain and maintain current certification in administration of CPR in accordance with the established district plan. This expansion from the physical education teachers to all athletic activity personnel aim to significantly improve emergency response capabilities, thereby increasing the survival rate of student athletes in the event of a cardiac emergency. Section 5 further extends these requirements to private high schools, ensuring uniformity across the educational landscape. Under this section, the governing bodies of the private school must establish and tailor plan for CPR training and emergency cardiac response for every coach, manager, and individual involved in school athletic activities. By aligning the certification standards with these applied in public schools, the bill ensures that all students, regardless of the type of school they attend, benefit from the same level of preparedness in facing potential cardiac emergencies. I would like to go through the proposed amendments. Section 2 through 4 and Section 6 through 8 are removed by the proposed amendments. Further, the amendment adds section to the bill amending Nevada Revised Statute 388.243 and 394.1687 relating to the development of emergency plan to be used by public and private schools, respectively, in responding to certain events, to require each emergency operations and plan development committee to develop a plan to address heart-related emergencies. To explain it further, the heart-related emergency, I would like my co-presenter, Dr. Danielian, the Las Vegas Heart Associate Director of Sports Cardiology and Endocardiography, to explain the need for immediate response to cardiac emergencies. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Nadeem. Thank you, Chair Torres Fawcett, and members of the committee for the opportunity to be here today. It's truly an honor. My name is Dr. Alfred Danielian, A-L-F-R-E-D, D-A-N-I-E-L-I-A-N. I am a sports cardiologist and the director of sports cardiology and echocardiography at Mountain View Hospital with Las Vegas Heart Associates. I also sit on the American College of Cardiology Sports and Exercise Cardiology Leadership Council and am the governor-elect for the American College of Cardiology's Nevada chapter. I bring a unique perspective as the team cardiologist for all the major sports teams in Las Vegas: the Raiders, Golden Knights, Silver Knights, Aces, Aviators, and UNLV Athletics. What inspired me to push for this bill was a tragic loss of 16-year-old Ashari Hughes during a flag football game in Las Vegas, along with the heartbreaking deaths of other local student athletes. Events that coincided with the nationally televised sudden cardiac arrest of the NFL Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin. With this background, I've seen firsthand how critical it is to be prepared for emergencies on the field, and sadly, why this bill is so needed. What is sudden cardiac arrest? Sudden cardiac arrest occurs when the heart suddenly stops beating normally because its natural electrical system stops working properly. And when the heart can no longer pump blood effectively, the brain and the vital organs are immediately deprived of oxygen. Without CPR and use of an AED, chances of survival drop 7 to 10% for every minute that passes. That means that after just 5 minutes, chances of survival are about 50%, and after 10 minutes, chances of survival are almost zero. But with CPR and immediate use of an AED, chances of survival can triple. That's why every second counts. While the overall incidence of sudden cardiac arrest in young athletes is fairly rare, estimated to be about 1 in 60,000 young athletes per year, sudden cardiac arrest is the leading cardiovascular cause of death in young athletes. And sudden cardiac arrest often strikes without any warning and can be the very first manifestation of an underlying concealed genetic disease in seemingly healthy individuals who had no prior symptoms. While we know the incredible benefits of long-term exercise, we also know that during exercise, there's a transient increase in the risk of sudden cardiac arrest in individuals with an underlying genetic heart disease. So while rare, when sudden cardiac arrest does occur, it's devastating, it's tragic, it's heartbreaking, it commands our attention, and it can strike without warning. While we do our best to screen young athletes for those underlying genetic heart diseases, there is no perfect screening process, and the unfortunate reality is that these events will occur. In fact, the most recent sudden cardiac arrest events, well publicized in the media, occurred in athletes who had undergone screening for many years without any detected abnormalities. While our professional athletes receive world-class medical care, in case of sudden cardiac arrest and professional and collegiate athletes gain widespread media attention, our high school athletes, our student athletes deserve the same level of protection and face the same risks of sudden cardiac arrest. In fact, in the most recently published data on the incidence of sudden cardiac arrest in young athletes, high school athletes were at the highest risk, especially those participating in basketball, football, and track and field. So our primary focus for survival during sudden cardiac arrest is emergency preparedness, having a well-rehearsed emergency action plan that it will enable immediate use of AEDs by trained individuals. This remains the most effective way to prevent fatal outcomes and ensure survival in our student athletes. The emergency action plan is a critical life-saving tool that ensures a rapid, organized, and effective response to sudden cardiac arrest and other medical emergencies during athletic events. Simply put, an emergency action plan doesn't just improve outcomes, it saves lives. While we hope to return in 2027 to include funding to ensure all schools have AEDs, Assembly Bill 454 lays the foundation for a safer future for our student athletes by ensuring that all schools have a cardiac emergency plan in place to respond to sudden cardiac arrest in students. Let's make sure that no family has to endure what Ashari Hughes' family did, and that every student at every level has a fighting chance for survival. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Assemblymember Flanagan. Any additional questions? I did have a clarifying question. What is the goal of Section 1, Sub A on page 3 of the bill? It states that this would include anyone, and each coach, manager, other person who is associated with the school athletic activity in the district. I don't believe I saw an amendment to that specific language. And my concern is that that's too broad as written. Working in a school, I'm a teacher that attends a game. Now I am associated with that athletic activity. I am, the mom who makes spaghetti before the football game. Now I am there. So I'm concerned that this is too broad.
Excuse me, Assemblywoman. Leah Cartwright, Leacartwright. Could you repeat the section you mentioned? Thank you.
It's the very first line of the bill, Section 1, Sub A. It's on page 3 of the bill.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm gonna get there. Thank you for that. Leah Cartwright again. Here's a phone a friend. So this is supposed to read each coach, manager, or other adult associated with the school activity. That should be like employees of the schools. That is how we were attempting to amend it.
Who are you intending to capture? And the reason I ask that is because you can have an adult that volunteers regularly with the wrestling team, but it's not the coach. I think that the intent is for this to capture coaches. And I believe that the language should be limited to coaches. Unless there's other individuals you're hoping to include that are not coaches, but that needs to be more specific.
If I may, hopefully elaborate a little on that.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Sure. Dr. Alfred Danielian, ALFRED, DANIELIAN. If I may try to elaborate, as part of the emergency action plan, the goal is to identify personnel in each school responsible for carrying out the plan. So, for example, the head athletic trainer or the school nurse, they can be the primary responders. The head coach or the PE teacher, they can activate EMS and call 911. The assistant coach can retrieve the AED, meet the emergency medical services at the entrance. The administrator can be involved in crowd control and patient notification. So hopefully that helps elaborate a little bit.
Sorry, one final clarification, Leah Cartwright again. The intent of the associated with the school activity event would be those who are employed by the school, so we're not intending to capture the students, the parent volunteers, those sorts of things. We are intending to capture the coaches and managers if they're adults with the program.
Thank you. And I still have concerns that the language as drafted is too broad, because right now as drafted, it would include myself as an educator attending a game, maybe frequently volunteering for the wrestling team. Now I would be required. So as drafted, the language doesn't capture the intent. So I hope that ahead of the Thursday deadline, we can have an amendment that clarifies that language to capture the intent that I think you both have specified, but I don't think is what's clear here.
Thank you, Chair. We will do that and we will send you the amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblymember Mosca.
Thank you so much for this bill and really just reading it. It sounds like, could you just share what is currently happening in schools or districts and how this would kind of streamline it?
I'd be happy to. Dr. Alfred Danielian, answering Assemblymember Mosca's question. Currently, several school districts have emergency action plans known as the emergency operations plans in place. Most notably, all schools in Clark County and Washoe County have the emergency operation plans that include a cardiac element in their emergency action plan. As far as AEDs, those districts that have over 100,000 in population are mandated to have AEDs in place. And they also have that emergency action plan with the cardiac element in place.
Members, any additional questions? I don't believe there's any additional questions at this time. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll go ahead and go to support. I will invite anyone wishing to testify in support to AB 454. As a reminder to members of the public, you will be limited to 2 minutes of testimony, and we'll do no more than 30 minutes in support, 30 minutes of opposition. As a reminder, please make sure you state and spell your name when you begin. I don't see anybody here in Carson City, nor do I see anyone in Oh, I see somebody in Carson City. He's coming. Thank you.
Brad Keating for the record, Dr. Brad Keating for the record, representing the Clark County School District. Happy to be here to support this bill. I appreciate the conversation on the record as we move to ensure that the intent matches the language. We are supportive of this. As stated, Clark County School District is doing this work already, and it was mentioned we had a wonderful opportunity 1 year ago with Damar Hamlin around Super Bowl, where he donated AEDs to every single school in the state of Nevada to make sure that the kids were taken care of. So we appreciate the efforts of the sponsors of this bill and look forward to seeing it on work session as the language matches the intent. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Nicole Flangas, Flangas, and I'm with the Nevada Association of School Boards. We are here in support, again, with that little emphasis on the intent of what this bill is supposed to create. We want to thank the sponsors for creating a process to protect our students. There are current certifications for coaching staff documented by NIAA and in their NAC that train staff accordingly with cardio-intended emergencies. This further takes steps to plan for heart-related emergencies, and we do stand in support of it as long as that intent is specified to those individuals. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Tim Jackson, JACKSON with the NIAA. We stand in support with this bill, with the amendment and the language clarifying who is responsible, so we thank the committee for this.
Do I have anybody else wishing to testify in support not here in Carson City? I'll go ahead and go to Las Vegas.
Please.
I'm going to Las Vegas now. Please begin.
Thank you, members of the committee. Misty Duplex, for the record, MISTI-DUPLEX. I'm a doctoral student in public policy at UNLV. I stand in support of this bill. My research focuses on improving sudden cardiac arrest outcomes, specifically by increasing AED accessibility and implementing strong emergency action plans. I'm also a Las Vegas native. I was married here nearly 25 years ago. One of my favorite moments was watching my Uncle Jay and Aunt Peggy, who were married over 50 years, dancing away. But that moment turned tragic when my uncle collapsed on the dance floor. Despite my parents performing CPR, we lost him. I often wonder if an AED had been available while we waited for emergency responders, would he have survived? Now I constantly scan for AEDs in every building. From where you're sitting now, how long would it take you to recognize a cardiac emergency and begin life-saving steps? It took me a few minutes to locate the AED in this building, and it took me over 2 minutes to get there and back from this room. You heard a lot of research today, and beyond the research, what inspired me was the stories of tragedies like Ashari Hughes and Jordan Brister, both passed away at Clark County High Schools, and shaped my research. As a mom of 3, I became motivated to protect our Nevada high school students so those tragedies wouldn't happen to any other family. In the past few months, we've also seen stories that give us hope, like CJ Henley and Sophia Finn Whitaker. Both are alive today because trained staff acted fast and had an AED available. Let's make sure every high school in Nevada is prepared. Let's make Nevada a smart heart state. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Torres Fawcett and members of the Assembly Education Committee. My name is Brooke Ivey, Brookeivey. I'm a fourth-year medical student at the Kirk Kerkorian School of Medicine at UNLV and a former collegiate swimmer. I'm here today in support of the bill on behalf of the Nevada chapter of the American College of Cardiology. I'm a medical student on their council. This legislation, as we heard, is aimed at preventing sudden cardiac death and arrest in high school athletes by ensuring schools have AEDs on site, a plan in place to respond, and trained staff available during school athletic events. More than 23,000 children under 18 experience out-of-hospital cardiac arrest every year in the United States. Nearly 40 of those events are sports-related. But when CPR and AEDs are used within the first few minutes, survival can exceed 70%, as we heard earlier. I've spent years in the athletic world and now in medicine. I've seen how urgent and devastating cardiac arrest can be. Without a plan and quick access to an AED and someone trained to use it, lives can be lost in minutes. This bill gives our students, coaches, and visitors tools to act in time. This issue is deeply personal to me. My dad passed away suddenly at 52 from cardiac arrest. My mom, who's a cardiologist, did everything she could, but no matter how much training somebody has, without immediate access to the right tools, outcomes can be tragic. As a former athlete and future physician, I've seen both the physical demands of sports and the medical urgencies involved in these events. Assembly Bill 454 gives schools the chance to be ready to act and to save lives. This bill is not just about compliance, it's about lives. Students, coaches, people who deserve a chance. Thank you so much for your time and for considering this critical step forward in student safety.
Thank you. I don't think I see anybody else in Las Vegas AVH at this time. We'll go ahead and go to the lines. Is there anyone wishing to testify in support of AB 454?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 454, please press *9 or raise hand in Zoom to join the queue.
Chair Torres Fawcett and honorable members of the Assembly Education Committee, good morning. My name is Sebastian Rios, Sebastian Rios, and I'm a high school senior currently attending Leadership Academy of Nevada. I also serve as chair of the Nevada Youth Legislature. I am testifying before you today in my personal capacity to express my reflections on AB 454. I hope to share key takeaways and points from the legislation that I feel would positively and strongly impact the youth community here in the state of Nevada. To begin, through my role as youth legislator, I've had the chance to learn from so many youth across our state and examine what makes us unique as Nevada students. If there's something that our different youth communities have in common, it is a genuine and real enjoyment of sports and athletics. At many of our high schools in different parts of the state, one cannot separate the student life from the athletic atmosphere. With so many students participating athletically while in high school, we must ensure that their health is taken care of while they exercise their abilities. As with any activity, playing sports comes with risks, and so ensuring there is a system and safety net in place at schools and places of learning for you to enjoy exercising should be a top priority. AB 454 would ensure that a policy around protecting youth's cardiovascular health is built and implemented utilizing evidence-based practices to ensure youth community receive the assistance they need in times of distress or issue. Maintaining proper training and preparedness for such circumstances when a health concern arises is also extremely important and makes for legislation that I feel would improve the safety and well-being of our Nevada youth community. With the technological and smartphone age now upon us, we need to ensure youth have not only every opportunity to get outdoors and participate in athletic activity, but are encouraged to do so. One of the best ways to do this is by improving our safety structures for student athletes, which is what this legislation does. To conclude, I envision a youth community that is more involved in athletics and is safer and healthier with this policy enacted. And so I'd like to share my support for AB 454 and ask the committee to move this legislation forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. And before we go to the next caller, I just want to clarify too. I think I had originally said 30 minutes, but we're only doing 20 minutes support, 20 minutes opposition. So we'll go ahead and go to the next caller. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hassan Al-Rashaideh, SAWSAN ALRSHAIDEH. I support AB 454. It's very important to have emergency response program in schools and colleges, which includes CPR as well as emergency cardiac response. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Tara Gonti, the Youth Legislator from Senate District 15, and I'm here in support of AB 454. I was a student athlete from my freshman through senior year until I injured myself, but many people close to my heart continue to participate in school sports.
And
Every
I'm
time a
sorry,
student
before
steps
you
onto the
proceed, can you
field or
please
into the gym-
state, can you please spell your name? Thank you.
Yes, REGANTI. Every time a student steps onto the field or into the gym, they're giving it their all. But emergencies like cardiac arrest can happen in an instant. This bill acknowledges that and makes sure our schools are prepared to respond. As someone who knows people who train daily and play hard, I want to know that my school has my back and the backs of my peers in a moment of crisis. AB 454 helps create a safer environment, not just for athletes, but for every student and staff member on campus. Thank you for considering this bill, and I urge your support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shiraz Tarar. That is SHERAZTARAR. Today, I want to voice my strong support for AB 454, a critical bill that will implement emergency response programs in the schools, including CPR and emergency cardiac care training. Every second counts during cardiac emergency. With proper training and accessible response protocols, we can drastically improve survival outcomes for students, staff, and visitors on campus. This bill isn't just about preparedness, it's about saving lives. Together, we can ensure our educational institutions are equipped to act swiftly and effectively when it matters most. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Honorable Chairperson and the committee members, my name is Dr. Faiza Ahmed, that is Faizaahmad. I'm an assistant professor of medical education at the CUSM, California. Today I'm here to express my strong support for AB 454, the Smart Heart Law, and this bill is not just about the legislation, and it's about saving the life. As we already know, sudden cardiac arrest is one of the leading causes of death among young athletes and students. One student athlete dies every 3 days in US with it. As mentioned already, the heartbreaking loss of Ashari Hughes, her death was tragic, devastating, and preventable as well. So sudden cardiac arrest, as we know, strikes without warning, and every second counts after that. For each minute without the defibrillation, survival drops by 7 to 10%. But if an AED is used within the first minute, up to 90% of the victims can survive. Here in Nevada, extreme heat during sports and physical education puts even more strain on young hearts, raising the risk of the cardiac event. So AB 454 ensures that all schools, public and private, are prepared with trained staff, accessible AEDs, and clear emergency response protocols. As a physician and as a parent, I want every child to be safe while pursuing the sports they love. I respectfully urge you to pass AB 454 and make our schools and sports safer. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Saida Bibi, Saidabidi, and I support AB 454 because as a mother of 3, I constantly worry about the health and safety of my children in their school. I never know what can possibly happen to them on any given day, such as the chance of cardiac arrest. AB 454 introduced the Smart Heart Law for schools in Nevada. This law aims to encourage all students to engage in physical activity safely. Cardiac arrest can occur in any time to anyone, even if they do not have any diagnosed heart condition. It is important to note that sudden cardiac arrest is the leading medical cause of death among athletes. According to the Cornell Health Children Heart Check Manager, one student athlete dies every 3 days from cardiac arrest. We can significantly reduce this number with school-wide plans for Nevada teachers, coaches, and students to respond quickly when someone has a cardiac arrest. Previous rules have required all Nevada schools to keep an AED in a central location, but schools are not currently required to practice using the AED. A bill like AB 454 would allow all schools, not only just my daughters, to access and provide emergency medical care for students who need it. I wholeheartedly endorse AB 454 and want to express my gratitude to the committee for allowing me to share my views on this important matter. Your consideration is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anam Kadir, ANAMQADIR, and I support AB 454. I believe it's essential to have emergency response programs in schools and colleges, including CPR training and emergency cardiac response. These programs can save lives and help students and staff act quickly in emergencies. Thank you.
My name is Javaria, Javaria, and I'm here today as a parent and as a community member who deeply believes in protecting the lives of our students and school communities through preparation and quick response. And sudden cardiac arrest is one of the leading causes of the death in young people, often occurring, like my colleague said, without warning. And when it happens, every second counts. A fast, coordinated emergency cardiac response can make the difference between life and death. And this bill, AB 454, ensures that both public and private schools are not only aware of this risk, but are prepared to act as well. This bill will require schools to have protocols in place and a dedicated staff trained in recognizing cardiac events, calling for help, and providing immediate care until medical professionals arrive. So this legislation isn't just about compliance, it's about confidence. It gives our school staff the tools and training to respond swiftly and effectively in those critical first moments. We cannot control when a cardiac emergency will happen, but we can surely control how prepared we are to respond. So I respectfully urge everyone's support for AB 454 to help make every school in Nevada a heart-safe place. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janie Gomez, Janiegomez. I'm a heart failure nurse with over 16 years of cardiac nursing experience from Reno, Nevada. Sudden cardiac arrest can happen to anyone, including our young athletes. Having AEDs available and a clear emergency response plan in place will ensure schools are equipped to handle these time-sensitive situations. I have witnessed the difference it makes when the right tools and trainings are in place, and unfortunately, what can happen when they are not. The AB Bill 454 is a necessary step towards saving lives, and I urge you to support Assembly Bill 454 for the safety of all the students, athletes, and attendees at school events across our region. Thank you.
Yes, hello. My name is Entrada Hughes. I'm here in support of.
Yes, please proceed. Just make sure you spell your name.
Assembly
Thank
Bill
you.
I'm sorry. My name is Entrada Hughes, Enttroda. Last name Hughes, Hughes. I'm here to testify in support of the Assembly Bill 545. I'm here to tell you guys about my daughter, my princess, scholar athlete, and now my angel, Ashari Hughes. Ashari was one of the three kids who shined very bright due to discipline and hard work. She advanced at everything she applied herself to, and Ashari was a determined person at an early age. Her big brother played tackle football. We used to go to practice and games. One day she said, "Hey, Dad, I want to play like my brother." I told her she couldn't play tackle football and asked if there were any other sports that she liked. She turned down every other sport and said that if she couldn't play football, she didn't want to play anything. To no surprise, in junior high school, she joined the flag football team and fell in love with the sport. As a parent, you love to see your kids happy. Ashari had been struggling with chest pains and shortness of breath while playing flag football to the point of almost passing out. We took her to the doctors and cardiologists to get her cleared, and everything seems to be fine, but we kept a close eye on her. On January 5th, Ashari had a flag football game. She told us that we didn't have to come because she wasn't going to play much. As I'm getting off work, my son calls me and says Ashari has passed out on the field again, but at this time, they were taking her into an ambulance. I rushed to the field in time to catch them putting her in the ambulance. I remember asking her, was she okay? And she shook her head at me with a blank look. Yes. I rushed over to the hospital, and as I was going in, I could see the ambulance getting there, doing CPR on Shari. I watched as they tried to get her heart back get her heart back going seeming like forever. The doctor eventually told us they couldn't save her. Words can't express the overwhelming grief and sadness that it takes when you realize that your child is gone and there's nothing you can do. To realize all the memories and last things that you did with them is heartbreaking. I'm here in support of legislation that never puts another parent in the situation that I have been in. Cardiac arrest is something that needs to be taken very serious. If we educate our community and have a plan to identify our school community and have a plan to identify and react to this problem immediately, it will help save multiple lives, even if we save just one. It will have been worth all the time and the effort that everyone is putting into getting this bill passed. I urge the committee to pass AB 545.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing your story. At this time, we'll go ahead and conclude testimony in support of AB 245, and I will go ahead. I apologize, wrong numbers. AB 454, and we'll go ahead and move to opposition. At this time, I invite anyone wishing to testify in opposition. I don't see any in Carson, nor do I see anyone in Las Vegas. AVH, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition, which means you oppose the bill, AB 454?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 454, please press star 9 or raise hand in Zoom to join the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and go to neutral. I do not see anyone here in Carson City, nor do I see anyone in Las Vegas. AVH, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in neutral to AB 454?
To provide testimony in neutral for Assembly Bill 454, please press star 9 or raise hand in Zoom to join the queue.
Hello, hi. My name is Amreen Islam. Actually, I was waiting for in favor, but
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please submit your written remarks. At this time, support has concluded, but you can submit your written remarks to our committee staff. Thank you.
Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. And I understand that there may be callers that were wishing to testify in support that we were not able to get to today. We thank you and appreciate you for calling in. Please make sure you submit your remarks to our committee staff so that those can be posted and made available to the public. At this time, I will go ahead and invite the bill sponsor for any closing remarks.
My name is Hanati Nadeem. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you for the committee members. Assembly Bill 454 aims to standardize and elevate emergency response capabilities within school athletic environment by requiring regular certified CPR training for all individuals involved in school athletics activities and by ensuring that cardiac emergency response protocol is in place. This bill seeks to improve survival outcomes during cardiac emergencies, reinforcing Nevada's commitment to the health and safety of its students. I urge you all to please support this bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on AB 454, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next piece of legislation, which is AB 383. So I'll go ahead and open up the hearing, but I'll go ahead and give our presenter just another moment so she can come down. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Thank you, Chair Torres Fawcett and Vice Chair De Silva and members of the most studious Education Committee for this opportunity today. I am Alexis Hansen representing Assembly District 32, and I'm joined today by Spencer Flanders with Tri-Strategies to my right and Dr. Eddie Abelasur, with the CEO for Tri-Strategies. And we're here today to present Assembly Bill 383, which establishes provisions relating to programs of high-impact tutoring. I will begin with some background information. Assembly Bill 383, as amended, and I would point out on the amendment there is a typo. The sections that we're amending it's section 1.2 and section 1. It says section 2, but we're not amending that portion. This is rooted in a growing consensus around the most effective strategies and interventions to address post-COVID learning recovery, which has largely been elusive. But there is widespread agreement that high-impact tutoring standards for vendors holds tremendous promise. A wealth of research from Stanford's Student Support Accelerator and Johns Hopkins University have underscored the positive effects of structured, individualized tutoring on student performance, particularly in core academic subjects such as math, reading, and science. The National Education Association and Stanford Support Accelerator have teamed up to help educators advocate for high-impact tutoring programs in their districts. Where it has been properly implemented, high-impact tutoring produces large learning gains for a wide range of students, particularly for those who've fallen behind academically. That's the conclusion of an increasing number of researchers, school leaders, and classroom teachers who have seen this practice in action. High-impact tutoring has been shown to be 20 times more effective than standard tutoring models for math and 15 times more effective for reading. Studies demonstrate that the practice increases students' learning by an additional 3 to 15 months across grade levels. When school districts seek to make a choice in vendors for a particular tutoring program, it only makes sense to rely on tried and true best practices, referenced here as high-impact tutoring standards. This bill aims to give guidance to districts on what those standards are and see how those vendors measure up. Several states are actively implementing or exploring high-impact tutoring initiatives, including Oregon, Tennessee, Florida, California, Colorado, Louisiana, and others. If it would be okay with the chair, I'd like to turn the time over to some of my co-presenters, starting with Spencer Flanders.
Good afternoon, Chair Torres Fawcett and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Spencer Flanders, S-P-E-N-C-E-R, F-L-A-N-D-E-R-S. I am with Tri-Strategies, and I'm excited to be presenting Assembly Bill 383, which focuses directly on high-impact tutoring. Now, before I dive into this bill, I want to share my own personal story and why this bill matters to me. I grew up with severe learning disabilities, such as dyslexia, dysgraphia, and ADHD. They were so significant that in elementary school, my parents were told there was no way I was going to graduate from high school. Thankfully, my parents never gave up on me, and they advocated for me to get a tutorer. And that decision changed my entire life. When I first started tutoring, I was reading at a first grade level, barely able to get through an Amelia Bedelia book, but after about 1 year with working with my tutorer, I was able to jump 7 grade levels and was able to read books such as Harry Potter, Go Gryffindor. It was massively important for me to get that tutoring. But we have to ask ourselves, what makes a tutorer effective? And what made my tutorer effective? She worked with me one-on-one in small groups, and she understood how I learned. She met with me consistently, her methods were structured and tailored to my needs, and she used consistent, frequent, and data-driven learning techniques, which helped. Her impact is what we should strive for here in the state of Nevada, and that kind of high-impact tutoring changed my life. But many students today aren't getting that same experience. So what are we doing currently here in the state of Nevada? Well, the issue is we have vendors who are coming in to school districts and charter schools who are offering tutor services that are not personalized for curriculum. Students often don't work with their tutor consistently, which means they're lacking the personalization skill sets they need to get the proper curriculum. We also have to ensure these vendors are using effective teaching formulas and are qualified for the job. We're excited to bring Assembly Bill 383 today because it changes all that. This bill sets clear standards for high-impact tutoring by following the recommendations from the Stanford National Student Support Accelerator, which requires the following: regular weekly tutoring sessions, small group sizes with the tutor each time, train and qualified tutors, learning materials that are proven to work, clear rules for choosing which students can get help, progress updates that are shared to families and schools, and strong rules to keep students' information safe. And Chair, with your permission, I'd like to do a walkthrough of the bill itself. Thank you. So, this is what the current amendment added. We are deleting Section 1 because it created a fiscal note that was not intended inside of this bill. Section 2, we are adding the State Board of Education and deleting the department, meaning the State Board of Education is doing the regulations if they so choose. And then we go to the real meat and potatoes of this bill, which deals with subsection 2. If you look at the alphabetized area, starting with A, tutoring programs must offer students at least 3 sessions per week, which each session lasting about 30 minutes over a set number of weeks. Section B looks at programs must have clear rules for dedicating which students are qualified for tutoring. Section C must be done in small groups with no more than 4 students with consistent tutors and regular progress checks. Section D looks at tutors must meet certain qualifications and receive training. Section E looks at materials used by tutors must be accessible, research-based, challenging, and match students' school curriculum. Section F looks at programs must be tracked how students are doing and reports that are progresses to teachers, principals, and parents, guardians. And then Section G is protection of information for students. And lastly, if enacted, this would go into effect on July 1st, 2026. Chair, I believe with that, we are open for questions.
Members, do I have any questions? Assemblymember Mosca.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you, Assembly Member, for bringing this bill. I just had more of like a general questions. I appreciate what's in here and to make sure that it's effective for students. I'm just thinking of my background, we would do things like have high schoolers tutor elementary school students. It's probably less tutoring, more probably just like near peer mentorships. But would this bill impact like tutoring programs that would be available to get state funding, or is it trying to do all tutoring programs throughout the state, or just trying to understand which ones it would impact?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Eddie Ableser for the record, ABLE-SER. Assemblymember Mosca, the intent, and as clarified in the amendment, is for school districts or charter schools that contract with a vendor for specific tutoring programs. And so that was intentionally drafted because we do not want to harm the work that many of our teachers, our school districts do internally, the mentorship programs. It's not intended to really focus on that type of work, which is tutoring. We are calling this high-impact tutoring because that's what the research from both Stanford and Johns Hopkins talks about. So when a program of high-impact tutoring comes to a district, which it has done in some of our districts in the past, we need it to follow the procedures set forth in these standards.
Thank you so much, and I just want to make sure that was on the record. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go next to Assemblymember DeLong.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for bringing this bill forward. You touched on the amendment and some of the reasoning for it. I just want to make sure I understand that. So by changing it to the State Board of Education and deleting Section 1.1, the fiscal note is then removed?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Assemblymember DeLong, Eddie Ableser for the record. The intent of the bill was to establish standards. As LCB crafted the legislation, it contemplated perhaps engaging the department and the rulemaking process and putting together a program, which was never the intent of the bill. So the intent of the bill is creating these standards in statute, and by virtue of the amendment, it allows for the state board, which is the rulemaking portion of the Department of Education, to establish regs if they choose so, or if they deflect that responsibility to the districts or LEAs, they can also interpret these standards, because there are a couple of standards in the bill that could be interpreted differently, such as teacher qualifications or tutor qualifications. And so whether that's at the State Board of Education or the LEA level, that's to be determined by the Board of Ed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Assemblymember Lower Hodge.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for answering our questions today. So in reading these criteria, they seem very specific, and so I'm wondering if there are one company, multiple companies, which companies would qualify under these, and if some are currently in use or if they're not.
Spencer Flanders for the record. We are looking just about 18 different companies that would hit these qualifications just based off initially, and we can I'm sure there'll be more as we continue.
And if I could add to that, Chair, Alexis Hansen, Assembly District 32. Yeah, I was really encouraged to see there were at least the 18 that I looked at that qualify under that National Student Success Accelerator recommendations. So it's not like a district has to reinvent the wheel. There are some ones that qualify for those standards.
Thank you so much for that. And are some in operation in Nevada currently or no?
Madam Chair, Eddie Abeles for the record. I believe many of these companies do have operations, whether or not they're contracted with the school district or not. I'm not aware of that. I will say that there were companies contracted with school districts in the past that didn't live up to these standards, and I know that some of the complaints I've heard from school board members, administrators, is that these companies came and left and harmed children at the end of the day. And so that was the whole impetus of bringing a piece of legislation like this. Over the summer, we examined some of the things that happened across the state. And as Spencer mentioned, there's 18 to 24 that have applied for the badges that Stanford and Johns Hopkins provides. But there's many other companies that meet the standards here. And again, it's not whether or not you have a badge from the university or not, it's whether or not you meet these standards. So I think there's many more that could be applied to this standard.
Thank you. Assemblymember Flanagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing this presentation. So there may or may not be a fiscal note applied to it, or you're looking to not have one. So the districts or whoever decides to use it will determine which students access it. So I guess I'm wondering where the parameters come from. What are the difficulties the students are having, or are there socioeconomic factors, like who lays out this criteria to ensure that there's fairness in the accessibility to the program? I think is the best way to word the question.
Absolutely. Madam Chair, Eddie Abeles for the record. Assemblymember Flanagan, section 1B through the amendment identifies that the standards used must by the program to determine which pupil will be selected to receive tutoring under the program. It's a very important standard, and it's something that both Stanford, Dr. Loeb at Stanford, who presented on this, as well as Johns Hopkins, contemplated that oftentimes you go into districts and it is a varying dynamic of what students actually get these high-impact tutoring programs. And so as a result, you have students who could qualify but are not receiving them for a variety of reasons. Putting it into statute, right, that there must be a standardization of what pupils, would receive the tutoring, the high-impact tutoring, I think is a very important baseline. Allowing the state board to contemplate how to perhaps expand that and provide more prescriptive measures on which students should receive this, I think is valuable from a statewide perspective, but we're not going to impose that upon them. The LEAs can also make that decision should the state board punt that responsibility to the locals.
Do I have any other questions from members? I did have a clarifying question, just because I noticed that the way the amendment's drafted, it wasn't clear to me. In the piece of legislation in front of me, Section 1, Sub 2, it says the department shall adopt regulations, and I understand with the amendment, we're changing it to the State Board of Education, and then it says right in this amendment, it says may adopt regulations, but it wasn't bolded or underlined, so I just want to clarify whether the intent is to switch from this mandate to this permissive language.
Alexis Hansen, Assembly District 32. Thank you, Chair. It is to be permissive. It's a may and not a shall.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Members, are there any additional questions? It doesn't appear there are any. Thank you. At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify in support of AB 383. Thank you. Begin when you're ready.
It's afternoon already. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Jenny Hunt, JennyHunt, and I'm the director of Mariposa Language and Learning Academy, which is a Title I district-sponsored charter school that is self-managed and serves 191 learners who are 95% Hispanic, 40% EL, and 100% free and reduced lunch. Today, on behalf of myself and a consortium of 5 other independent charter schools in the Reno area, I testify in support of AB 383. Availability of resources aligned to quality and criteria for delivery is an important link for student success. The availability of such resources with specific standards at times when ESSER and other pandemic funds were available may likely have resulted in less learning loss for our students. It is appropriate that when there are funds available, there is assurance that the investment that we put in will yield results for students across the state and public schools. We support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mary Przinski, here representing Nevada Association of School Superintendents, and we know the value of tutoring. We appreciate this bill. We also appreciate the permissiveness that this bill allows. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Nicole Flangas, Flangas, here on behalf of the Nevada Association of School Boards. We are here today in support of AB 383, which lends permissive language to allow for high-impact tutoring via vendor. As we talk about making education work for each and every one of our students, this is another tool that will ensure we responsibly do just that. We also know that high-impact tutoring deals with chronic absenteeism, which is one of our priorities as an association. Thank you to the bill sponsor for bringing this bill.
Seeing no one else here in Carson City, I'll go ahead and go to Las Vegas.
Good morning, Chair Torres Fawcett, members of the Assembly Committee on Education. My name is Anahit Baghshatsyan. For the record, that is ANAHIT BAGHSHETSYN, and I'm representing Nevada Policy today. Nevada Policy strongly supports AB 383 because at its core, this bill realizes a simple truth, which is tutoring works, and it works for everybody. High-intensity tutoring has been an intervention that we've seen implemented across the states. So today I'm here to give you context of how it has worked for other states and hopefully have it implemented in the Silver State. We've seen a model implemented in Connecticut. The State Department of Education has successfully implemented a similar project where they made a publicly available list for their schools and parents for vetted tutoring programs. Taking a step further, they focus specifically on math tutoring and math scores. And as a result, in October of 2024, East Hartford Middle School administrator said that 149 students in a new and intensive tutoring initiative had seen their year-over-year math scores improve nearly 4 times as much as the students who did not receive this intervention. We've seen a similar intervention be passed throughout Ohio legislation and be implemented, again, with an accent on mathematics tutoring and mathematics scores. And lastly, North Carolina is the state that has implemented a similar intervention with a very high success rate. They have established a North Carolina Education Corps, which trains and places tutors in public schools with annual reports, some of which I've cited in the written testimony submitted to the committee, but principals admit that 100% of students being served demonstrate growth in reading, and 10% of them get to their grade level, if they were below grade level before, simply by the mid-year mark. So AB 383 recognizes that tutoring works and it works for everyone, and it's a great foundation to implement this measure further and further as time goes by and help the Silver State students. So for that reason, we urge your support. Thank you very much.
Seeing no additional individuals wishing to testify in Las Vegas, ABH, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. To provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 383, please press star 9 to join the queue.
Hello, Chair Torres Fawcett, members of the Assembly Education Committee. My name is Gil Lopez with the Charter School Association of Nevada, here in support of AB 383. We definitely think it's important to have standards when it comes to high impact tutoring. And we urge your support and thank the bill sponsor for bringing this bill forward. Thank you.
Chair, there are no additional callers to provide testimony at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and go to opposition. Is there anyone wishing to testify in opposition to AB 383? I don't see anyone here in Carson City. Oh, is that CCSD? No, it's just kidding. He sat back down. And I don't see anyone in Las Vegas. AVH, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers at this time.
At this time, I'll go ahead and go to neutral. Is there anyone wishing to testify in neutral to AB 383? I don't see any here in Carson City. CCSD started to approach. Oh, they took a seat. Thank you. I don't see anyone in Vegas. ABH, is there anyone on the line?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers to testify at this time.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll invite the bill presenter. She said she's good with closing remarks, so we'll go ahead and close the hearing on AB 383. Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and go to the last item on the agenda, which is public comment. Anyone wishing to testify in public comment, please make sure that you state and spell your name for the record. I see CCSD.
Good afternoon to my favorite committee. Brad Kidding for the record. We don't get a chance to do this because you guys are always working so hard, but I will bring back from many years ago a CCSD Good News Minute. So we are excited. Every once in a while we'll talk about some great things happening at our schools. I wanted to mention for both Reno High School and Southwest Career Technical Academy, both schools made it to the national finals of We the People. They will be moving on to Washington, D.C. That is huge news. We are excited. That is, to give you perspective, this is the fourth time in 20 years that the Clark County School District has had a team that's moved forward. So just wanted to congratulate Reno High School and Southwest CTA for moving forward in the We the People competition. Thank you.
Thank you. To have anyone else wishing to testify in public comment? Not at this time here in Carson City nor in Las Vegas. AVH, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, the public lines are open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
With that, members, any comments before we adjourn? Please note that we will have much likely a longer meeting on Thursday, although not as long as the ones last week. And you can expect a work session as well. We'll get that work session document to you probably around by the end of the day tomorrow. At this time, this meeting is adjourned.